Good afternoon and welcome to the instructional video for this deathless Advantage. It's a 2008 model and I'm going to walk you around the outside first of all and then we'll move on inside the vehicle. So starting with the cab, it's based on a 3 litre 160 multi-jet Fiat Maxi chassis. The mirrors fold in manually, but then we'll adjust both lower and top mirrors with the electric control inside. The doors centrally lock for the habitation side, and the habitation door will manually lock. Behind the driver's door we have your plug-in point for your mains electric, so this is the point where you're putting electric into the vehicle. There's a door retainer at the back that holds the door in place, and the door's got a built-in bin, coat hooks, storage areas and a full height fly screen. There's an electric step which is just controlled inside, and then this is fitted with an Omnister or fuel awning, which I'll send a separate video along with the instructional video here to show you how to use that. Behind the habitation door you'll see there's 2 vents, then these are your fridge vents, so you can buy separate covers for them. And then we have the heater vents for the Truma heater. This is the heater that does the hot water and the heating. Be careful, this does get hot, so don't hang anything from there. And then behind that we have your locker door, which again has a door retainer. It closes, twists, and then put the key in. When it's pushed in tight there, it is locked. When it's open or ajar, that will allow you to open and close that garage area, just like so. Inside we've got some tie-down hooks. We've got a mains plug-in point. We've got a tyre inflation kit and a toolkit just located just there. And then here is where you will find your boiler unit in the separate cupboard. There's also a light in here, and the 2 handles. The bigger handle is the awning handle. The smaller handle here is the rear steadies. It's got rear steadies on here, and you'll see the locker area goes all the way. There's also a cab carpet that comes with it. So your rear steadies are either side, just underneath the vehicle, and they'll just come down as and when you want to do it, just to stabilise the back of the vehicle when you're on a site and you're using it. The back of the vehicle we've got a bike rack which is kitted up for 4 bikes, or 4 rails, 4 arms. We've got a reversing camera, and you're not using the bike rack, just goes up like that. And then we've got the rear ladders just on there, which give you access to the roof area should you want to do that. Round to the passenger side, we've got the toilet cassette. So the toilet cassette will pull out by lifting up the little yellow lever, sliding it out, pressing the little yellow button and emptying it through the top here. So you remove this little cap where my thumb's pointing, turn it upside down, empty it out, swill it out, pop it back in. But when you're turning it upside down, you press that button, it releases the vacuum, it allows it to flow out of there easier. When you've cleaned it out and you're ready to put it back in, just slide it back in and it will hook over there, and that will allow you then to use the toilet again. If you're finding it difficult to slide out, just check that the valve is closed inside, and I'll show you that when we move on side the vehicle itself. There is also a little fuse in there, so a little purple 3 amp fuse, so if your toilet's not working, you flush, just check that fuse in there. Again, lockable using the key. Below is your wastewater, so that little rod there is where you will put your key. That will empty the wastewater, and it comes out from underneath the vehicle in the central, allowing you to drain any water that you've put in through the shower and the sinks. Filling up the water system, it's just labelled up there with Vasa, so that's water. Undo it, the cap again with the key, allows you to put water in, and I'll show you how to drain the water tank when we go inside. So if you do forget, it'll just dump water straight out of there and out of underneath on your feet, and then you'll have to go and close it inside. So fresh water, wastewater and toilet on this side. In front of that is where the gas goes. We'll take 2 gas bottles, and this is your regulator, which the pigtail will connect to depending on whether you're using butane or propane. We do tell you to use propane when you're using the vehicle because it freezes at a lower temperature. Forward of that we've got the filler point just here for your diesel. So it is a diesel vehicle and it is clearly marked on the top. You use the Fiat key to gain access. Underneath here is where you will find your engine battery. Underneath the seat itself you will find all your main fuses, and the blue unit is what we call that your E-block. So this is the main brains behind the vehicle itself, and that's just located underneath that panel. Engine battery underneath there. We've got bonnet release catch just here. The cab area uses the curtains to screen it off, and we've also got a lockable area with the automatic climate control, CD radio, and the 6-speed manual gearbox. Above here is a cold area, so when you've got your aircon on, if you want anything cooling, you can put it in that compartment there, and we have another one just down below. You can see it's on the Maxi chassis, so this is the 4-ton chassis, and to get into the bonnet, just above the Fiat badge, the little grey lever there will give you access into the cab area. And on here we have got negative point is just here, positive point is just there underneath that cap, oil and dipstick and screen wash just in the corner. When you finish with it, just gently close it, and that allows then us to move on to inside. So that's the outside. Let's go on inside and show you how the vehicle works inside. So underneath the seat here, when I've lifted it up for you, is where you'll find your fresh water tank. So underneath the cap here, so this simply just screws out. It's normally located there, just screws out. You will see that there is a little lever there. So when it's in the down position as it is, then that is holding the water in the tank. To empty it, you lift up the lever, take out the cap, and that will empty the fresh water out of the vehicle. To fill it up again, simply put it back in place, and that would stop the water coming out of the freshwater tank. So that is your drain for your freshwater tank. That is located underneath the seat, just there. If you forget to put that in, all it will do is drain out the water as soon as you put it in through the outside outlet. So making up this front bed area here, you remove the back 2 cushions, use the top rest, which is the thinner one of the 2, to pop it down on either side, and then the base of the cushions just go there. The table then splits its leg lower down, and will hook onto the bottom rail just in between the seats. Lift these back up now, lift that up, you'll see that there's a lower frame there. That sits onto there, and then will allow you to formulate the lower bed. And then with the table back in its top position, you'll see we've got 2 travelling seat belts there and 2 lap seat belts for the forward facing passengers. We've also got a heat exchanger, so you can use that when you're in motion. The bottom one being the fan position from off to low to high, and the top one being the hot and cold temperature. You'll also see dotted around the vehicle, you'll have several vents, and this is for diverting the heating around. You'll see there's some in the back as well, around the vehicle to distribute it evenly to front or back locations. The front bed up here, we've got an opening roof vent, we've got a curtain to screen it, and we've got a window that lets in the light, which has got a fly screen and a blind on. You've also got a light to the top and a little shelf for your belongings just above there. There's ladders to gain access that just fit onto the little rungs here, and when you don't want to use it, if you just lift it up, it'll go up on the gas struts, and then you'll see that there's a little clipping button which allows you just to adjust the height of it just above your head there, and secure that up to give you a greater headspace when you are moving around in the vehicle. The cab area, we've got a reversing camera, I said the gearbox, manual, and then these are your electric window switches and mirror switches just there. We've got the curtains that just pull across either side to screen that area off in an evening. The windows themselves have a built-in fly screen and a blind. They're all the same all the way through the vehicle. The roof lights pull together, both blind and fly screen, and this one has a winding handle to open up the window. The rest of them utilise the push button Hecky roof light, just push and open it up there. That too has a fly screen and a blind on it, same as the back one. which is exactly the same. Push, pull, and then you've got your fly screen and your blind on. The back window you can't open with the bike rack, so just be careful. Like I said, the side windows are all the same throughout the vehicle. And to open the windows on the stays, let's just pop these back up. We just need to release the stay around the window. So there's several locations. That will then allow you to push the window open. Now you'll see that there's two little wheels on either side. You tighten and release them, so depending on how high out you want the window, and that will stay in situ. When you finish, just pull it through and just lock them in place. Like I said, that's the same all the way throughout the vehicle. Above the windows you've got the opening cupboards, so just open the handles, and this is where you will find the handbook. The waste key, which I mentioned earlier for the wastewater, is just here, so this key goes onto that metal pipe. When shutting these, just let them clip and clip, and again going along each one of them will give you plenty of storage. Just make sure that they're locked and clipped in place for transit. The kitchen area, we've got the 3 burners, and to turn the burners on, your controls are just underneath here. So press and hold, you'll just need an igniter just to ignite that on, and that will work in that instance. Just make sure before you close these lids that you allow them to cool down, otherwise that they will shatter. And again, we've got our sink with the mixer tap, just clearly marked on the front, hot and cold. So what you'll need to do first of all is, once you've filled up your fresh water, you'll need to turn the tap to the hot position. Yeah, put the pump on the control panel and then open up the tap, and that will allow the water to come through, just like so. Now you run the water until you get a steady stream like that. What that means is that you've run the water through the boiler. Once the water's all the way through the boiler, you'll be able to then go to your heater settings and decide whether you want to use the hot water heat inside of it. I'll come on to that later in the video. At the side here, we've got a light switch and a couple of sockets for power. Mains sockets will only work when you're hooked up to mains, guys. Above in the kitchen area, we've got some storage areas for your belongings. They're all push buttons. Again, above here, above the fridge, you've got your aerial. So with your little repeater to tell you, your booster to tell you what's on. If you need to get a higher signal, then you just unscrew this little white cap and push the pole up, and that will allow your signal to become greater than what you've got in the lower position. The control panel to the vehicle is all above the door. And if I start from the beginning, when you're plugged into mains, you'll have an indicator to tell you that you're turned on here. We've got your 12 volt power, and again it'll tell you what power's in your battery. Here we've got battery levels, both vehicle and habitation, freshwater level and wastewater level, just there. So pretty straightforward. When you're leaving it, turn that off, that turns all your lights off. When you're coming back into the vehicle, turn it to 12 volt and that will turn on the 12 volt. So the vehicle giving you power to your lights and your pump and everything in that respect. Control panels, the TV controls, mountings are here, and then you've got a mains, 12 volt and aerial point. You can also pull that down to hide it nice and discreet in there. And your wardrobe area, just in here, is where you will find your main breaker. So that is your main RCD breaker. The big one here being your test button. So if you press that, like when we're hooked up to mains, it should flip that little button down. So press that, it should flip that little button down. That tells us we're getting mains power to the vehicle. The other ones are for the other appliances, which you can revert to your handbook to tell you as and when you want to use them. But that's your main one, is that first test breaker. To the side of the habitation door here, this is your hot water and heating controls. So let's run through this sort of step by step. The top one is the operation that we're wanting to do. So in the off position, the circle, we're not doing anything. If we were to turn the outer ring down to the little flame, that would allow us to do the heating, and the heating is controlled by turning the little dial down or up depending on whether you want it hot or cold. 1 being the lowest temperature, 9 being the maximum. The next setting down does both the heating and the hot water. Yeah, so you'll see there's a little flame, yeah, and a 60 degree. That is your heating and your hot water. Heating only, off. Water on 40 degrees, water on 60 degrees. So we want to decide what we want to do. So let's do it on a mix. Let's do it on both heating and hot water. Yeah. The next one down is what we want to try and achieve the heating with. So your fuel source. So we've got gas and 1 kilowatt electric, gas and 2 kilowatt electric, all the way up to 1 kilowatt electric and 2 kilowatt electric. So the bottom one being the fuel source, either electric, gas and electric, or gas only. The top one being the operation that we want to do. And when we finish doing it, we just turn it off to the 0, and that turns off the heating and the hot water. The thermostat for the heating is just above there. So pretty simple, pretty easy to get your head around. If you want to refresh on the day, please ask me, but that's how that works. The light switches are designated around the vehicle. So just have a look for the different positions. You'll see that they're generally these big round switches here. And that does your light switches throughout. The downlighters will have individual switches. The main lights will have a main switch located. The fridge. So to turn the unit on, you press the button and it will illuminate a little section here. When you have turned it to the section that you want it to do, it will illuminate the sides. So the first one being gas, you'll hear it clicking until the gas lights. The next one being mains electric. Yeah, so gas, mains electric. Battery, it's red at the minute because this will only work when your engine is running. Yeah. And then the next one down being auto. Now you'll see it's flicked it straight to electric because we're plugged into electric. So most people run it on the auto and then it'll choose it for you, but it's entirely up to you. Next to it is the control setting, and you turn it from either hot to cold. Just depends on what you want it to be. You'll see as you're turning it, if I do it with the other hand, the actual lights will go out at the side, so you'll know which way you are turning it on and off. And then to gain access into it, it's just a case of moving the buttons, so to the side. That will give you access into your freezer. And then turn it the other way, that will give you access into your fridge. Now just the same way as your heating and your hot water, it will take a period of time to heat and cool this up. So just allow it time for your freezer and your fridge to cool down the same way as it will take time for your heating and your hot water to heat up. In the bathroom area, we've got again a mixer tap just there. I mentioned about the blade valve on the toilet. So that's the valve just inside the toilet there. To open and close it, it's just this lever here. So pull it towards the kitchen and it opens it. Pull it towards the back and it closes it. It's got to be towards the back for you to be able to pull the toilet cassette out. Yeah. Underneath, we've got a little bit of storage. Make sure that they're pushed in on transit. We've got some little coat hooks under here and a light switch, which is just located just there. We've got your screens, so these are just held in place with tabs. Pull the tabs off and that will allow the screen to come down. And again, another mixer tap there. Towel rail holder just there. So this one opens up, you'll see there's a magnet on there, and then it will just go flush against to allow you then to shower in that area. Bathroom area to get in these cupboards, just push in the middle and that will open it up. Same on that side, and there's more storage in there for you should you want to. And turning off the light just in there. In this area again, you've got heater controls, so just open them as you want to do it, and we've got some towel rail holders just on the side. The back area, the table will go in place as you see here. Yeah, so you can have that in place or you can remove it. To remove it, you just simply lift it out and you could just store it away from the vehicle on the overcab if you weren't using it, or in the garage space if so. So to make up the rear bed, you'll find that there's two panels just here, and they have hooks that go over. They'll sit in the middle, and then you use the three cushions that come in the middle just to go in situ to make up that rear bed area. We do always advise that you do put a mattress topper on just to take out, but you'll have a double bed across the back of the vehicle. The table just removes, you'll see that it's just there, and the pole comes out, just lifts out of place while you're not doing it. So that's how it would work with the bed made up, or the table back in situ with the two supports to make up the rear bed. In this bed area as well, we've also got a sliding door, so that screens off and pulls across to screen off that bedroom area, just like so, in an evening. Got a couple of core tucks here, and we've got a carbon monoxide detector just there as well. The gas isolation valves can all be found just underneath the cupboard here. Then below that we've got a spin flow grill and hob unit just there. We've got drawers throughout the kitchen area. Now that position is allowing the drawers to open. Push it in and that will lock it up. Also got another main socket just behind. So it's important that you go around the kitchen area, make sure that the relevant push studs are in place. Turn off your unit for your fridge when you're leaving, and then when you leave the vehicle completely, turn the switch down and that will turn off the power to the motorhome. I hope you found my instructional video helpful. If you've got any queries and questions, please ask me on the day you come to collect. But most importantly, we hope you have a lovely time in your new motorhome. Thank you.